What's up everyone, it's Amit from Amyth and Amyth, coming straight to you from Bondi Beach. Yes, I have moved and I'm loving it, apart from the stereotypical reasons, but I am seriously loving the fact that I'm here and the beach is that way, 4-minute walk. If you are wondering where I've been, I've taken pretty much the last month to rejuvenate myself. The first year I was going all out. It was great. I just thought, instead of sort of testing myself and burning out by September, October, which I've noticed in the past, like around say September, October, I kind of burn out and it's hard for me to sort of recharge myself because it's in that peak zone. So I decided to take a month off. I went back to New Zealand, spent some solid time with mom and dad, spent some solid time at my favorite spot called Blockhouse Bay, and just recharge, re-energize. I feel like it's so easy to keep myself thinking, oh, I need to do more, I need to be more productive, but I don't know, I truly believe in having some sort of balance that helps me just do a better job of just living, and helps me do a better job running my own business and working on client projects. So yeah, took some time off. I'm back in Bondi Beach now and I'm so excited. Like August has been an interesting time. August, July, halfway August is the time I sort of took off to just understand where I'm at, where I need to go, how I've been doing, how I need to be, performing, how I can improve my health, not just, from a physical perspective, but mentally, spiritually. Yeah, it was good. I'm really happy. And I hope, I really hope that, like, I'm not the only one who does this. I really hope. So, video 3, Marketing is Life, video number 3. I have talked to you and explained where I got the idea from and what marketing is like is even as a concept. What is it as a concept? I've covered the what, but I feel like a lot of people I've spoken to, they have ideas, right? Like, I have this idea, and often the conversation goes to, how do I make this idea into a reality? So I thought, I've added this sort of section into the book where it's got 4 different aspects that essentially just describes how I've taken that idea to an actual reality, right? How do I take that idea and then turn it into the book? How do I take that idea now turning it into a vlog, a video series? And there's a podcast coming up, right? So, and there's articles that I write on a regular basis. And this whole process of taking that idea to an actual life project has been exciting, and I've learned a lot. So I love to share the 4 elements that I feel are important to take your concept from your idea, from concept to live, to reality, for people to actually start interacting with it and getting exposed to it. So there's 4 elements. Number 1 is searching, number 2 is understanding, number 3 is communicating, and number 4 is sharing. So if you're wondering what that is, it's searching for the idea. You have to search for it. You can't just wait for it to pop up in your mind. You have to search for the idea. Once you have a few, then the next stage is understanding the idea. You need to sort of analyze it, figure out what it's about, the pros and cons, really understand it. And then you got to communicate the idea, which is, you can also call it articulation. How do you actually take it from up here to actual words and visuals and something tangible that people can interact with and people can learn from and get exposed to? But how do you take that idea into words and into visuals that people will understand, so people understand your message in the most precise way you want them to understand? So it's essentially mind reading to a certain extent. How do you take that from there to there? Articulation is, I think it's a skill that definitely can be acquired. And number 4 is obviously sharing, right? So for a long time, sharing these thoughts is hard when you don't have a structure. So I feel like these 4 elements have really helped me bring this bad boy to life. I absolutely love it. I love it. Black and white, my favorite colors, shades, whatever you want to call it, right? So step number 1 is searching for your idea. And for a long time, I've really enjoyed taking my thoughts apart. I've heard engineers, software, mechanical, whatever, them taking apart computers, them taking apart any sort of machine, and they're just so curious about figuring out how it all works, how, what makes it tick. For me, it's been about thoughts. For me, it's always been about like, all right, this thought I had, why did I have this thought? How did it even come across? What are the motivations there? What's the agenda there? So just, I don't know, just, it involved, I've had a lot of time in my life just kind of sitting there and like, thinking about these things. And growing up, I thought I was just daydreaming. I got told, oh, you daydream a lot by teachers, definitely. But I just kept doing it because it just came naturally to me, and I've always been really excited by it. So yeah, for a long time, I've enjoyed taking thoughts apart, exploring why and how a thought came about. And I find that absolutely invigorating. And essentially that's where it started. It started with that one thought, why? Why do I think this way? Which led to, why do people think that way? Why do people react to things the way they do? And it absolutely mesmerizes me when I start thinking that every person reacts and understands and soaks in a situation differently, because they're all from different places. They have different backgrounds, different upbringing, different cultures, different values. They've been consuming different content through their life that obviously shapes their paradigm of life, shapes their paradigm of what's going on in different scenarios. In this case, it's marketing. Some people see it as an absolute evil thing. Some people just don't understand how the hell it works. Thankfully I do. But yeah, so that's where everything started. That's where it all started. Actually, flashback, I just had a flashback. I had an idea before Marketing is Life, and that was focused on the connection between colors and life. How do colors affect how we think, how we react to things? If someone wears red, how do people react to that when they're talking to them in the different situation? But at that time, I was looking for a tangible idea that I could then not only just use to be creative, but also use it as a channel, as a vehicle to get my point across. Help people understand and see marketing and branding the way I do it. I'm not saying it's the ultimate way, it's the only way. I'm just saying it's just another way. And I just want to help people understand branding and marketing better, because consumers, they call consumers for a reason. They consume brands, they consume content and marketing, not knowing the intent of them, not knowing how that affects and influences and shapes their thoughts and values towards a certain brand and away from another brand. So I thought, people need to understand branding, and that way they can make better decisions, more informed decisions that come from here rather than what that ad says. Subliminally, a lot of branding and advertising and marketing is all about manipulating your thoughts and getting you to buy their products. Really, that's what it comes down to. Sounds evil, but it's really not, and that's one of the things I focus on. My main vision is about connecting purposeful brands with the people that care. That's my vision. That's always been the main go-to statement, so I don't take on any and every project that I get. I have to believe in the vision of the brand that I'm working with. I got to believe in the vision of the founder and the founder themselves, so it's really important. So coming back to it, that's where everything started. I thought Marketing is Life is a more tangible way of me sharing my thoughts and helping people understand marketing and branding better. So that was stage number one of my idea. Searching, I found it. I found my idea and I was like, okay, this is a great idea. Step number two is now understanding the concept of Marketing is Life. And understanding human behavior is important for me as a marketing and branding expert. But I think it's also important for consumers to be able to be observant of your own behavior and reactions to branding, to marketing, to messages out there, to advertising campaigns, to slogans, all of that jazz, right? So I just took that. I understood that as an addiction would help me, would essentially fuel my drive every day. Because I'm one of those people that, growing up, I was absolutely excited at the thought of starting something. But when it came to finishing it, man, that was a whole different story. I have improved since then, obviously. I'm not perfect, but it is getting better. I am getting better at sort of following through a project, because you know it's going to work. I know this project is going to work. I believe in it. But at the end of the day, I still go through it. Day in, day out, I got to power through it. And it's taught me a lot about myself, right? So understanding your idea is really important. And I'm constantly trying to understand motivation, fears, desires, and frustrations linked to everything. Regardless if it's your website, a business's website, their Instagram, it's regardless if it's their CEO or like the founder themselves, or a video they've put out. So or you take that away and put it and talk about life, everything, meeting new people, watching someone cross and almost get hit, or a family sitting there happily on a Tuesday afternoon at a cafe in Bondi. I'm like thinking like, wow, like, do these people don't have a job? Like, they don't. But then obviously they've set themselves up in a way that allows them to live that lifestyle, So I'm really curious to understand how people live their lives. And that was the core aspect. I thought, all right, well, obviously there's connection between real life and consumer life. So I really figured out that understanding that connection is going to be really important for me and for the book. If I can understand sort of these push and pull factors that are involved in almost every transaction, not just dollar sign wise, but just in general people wise, I feel personally it benefits me. But then also helps me understand people, right? So when I'm working with clients and brands, they're telling me what they want and where they want to go, and then understanding people and understanding where they're at, who they're trying to target, really helps me come up with a strategy, come up with a simple and effective plan that stays within their resources, but also helps them reach a goal that they're trying to reach. Because at the end of the day, where to start is one of the trickier questions to answer. So yeah, understand your idea. If you have one, search for it. If you find it, when you find it, understand it, look at it from different perspectives. Number 3 is communication. Communicating your idea, articulating your idea into an actual piece of content or actual, tangible thing that people can interact with, I think is an art in itself. And I think that's why art is there at the start of articulation. That's so cheesy, but that's how I see it. And I felt like each time I felt connected to a thought, I saved it on my notes app. So all of these quotes that you're seeing me talk about and write about in my book and talk about in my vlog that are coming up in the upcoming episodes, I've had these for the past 5-10 years. So I've gone from phone to phone, all the way from the Nokias to those initial like HTCs or whatever it was. Now that's a Huawei. The new phone I've got is like a Google Pixel. All the different devices I've been through, I have copy pasted these notes from one device to another, and eventually like the cloud profiles came through, so that kind of carried on its own. But yeah, I often really enjoy reliving my thoughts and realizing that it could be a different meaning. Every single time I revisit these quotes that I've written down, thoughts that I've written down, strategies from a marketing and branding point that I've written down that have just occurred to me while I've been out and about. I revisit them and I think, I remember this is, the thought behind why I wrote this, but now there's this other way of looking at it. And I think communication and articulation is the result of understanding the idea, understanding what it is that you're trying to say and who is it that you're trying to say it to, and also why are you trying to say this to someone. And step number 4 is sharing. Now, once you understand how to put it into words and how to put it into visuals and images and videos and stylings and branding, once you take that idea and then figure out what to actually say to people, it comes down to how to say things. Sharing is about how are you going to communicate and articulate your message, or what it is that you want to share with people. And nowadays, every time that word sharing comes up, it all comes down to social media. But really, sharing is the art of passing the message. Here it is, what you said and how to actually do it. You can't just get, here you go, here's a message for you, go read it, it's going to improve your life. Here's a product for you, buy it, it's going to improve your life. Consumers are a lot smarter now. That may have worked a while ago. Like 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, even up to the 90s, but it doesn't anymore. I'm very confident it doesn't anymore for the majority of the people living in Metropolis. Every time I heard that word Metropolis, reminds me of Batman. But yeah, so sharing is how you say things, and how you say things often attracts and also repels people. It attracts and repels opportunities. It attracts and repels brand partnerships, and that's where sharing and how to say things to a certain person so they get the idea in the most concise and time effective manner is also important, right? So step number 4 of getting your idea off the ground is sharing. And I never thought anyone would find all of this stuff interesting as much as I do, but once I actually started sharing the fact that I find marketing and branding interesting, the fact that I find behavioral science interesting, and I started just putting it out there, I started attracting people. People in my own circle, like, wow, I don't know that you were into that, so am I. And we just started connecting. I started connecting with people from years ago, just because I'm communicating these thoughts that I'm having, and I think it's a beautiful thing, because psychographic is where it's at. So from a simply sharing perspective, I'm telling the other people in the world that think the same, that have the same thoughts, saying, let's link up, let's talk, let's explore this. But yeah, and I think I'm just ready to share whatever the thoughts I have behind marketing is life, what I'm doing. I still can't believe, like, it's been 2 years I've been out here doing freelancing and doing this on my own, with the collection of amazing experts in the field that I'm at. I still can't believe that it's working, and what I'm saying makes sense, but I'm ready to share. It regardless of what people think. And there's 2 things that can happen from this, right? One is when I put it out there, people give me feedback, and I already know it. It's alright, good. If other people are saying the same thing that I'm thinking, then I must be on the right track. Number 2 is if they don't see or don't think about what I'm saying in the same manner, then there's an opportunity for me to learn. Now that sounds corny ass, but that's the thing. Like, I don't see mistakes. I don't see anything as like, oh man, I failed there. I see that, alright, well, I didn't understand that properly, and I could have done that better. What can I learn from that? And it's that whole like closed mindset, open mindset, and it's tough, right? Like, it's something that I personally have to be hacking away at it all the time, because the moment I pause or take it easy, then all those feelings and thoughts come together about, am I going to be able to do this? Who am I to do these things? And those aren't happy feelings, right? So sharing and how to say things is also very important. So yeah, there you have it. 4 steps to take your idea from the idea stage to actually communicating it out there and putting it out there as an initiative, essentially. So if you have an idea, think about these 4 steps, search for that idea, or maybe top 2 or 3 ideas, search for them, understand your idea, make sure you've looked at it from all different perspectives, and then communicate it, be able to articulate what your idea is so people understand it in the closest proximity possible. And step number 4 is share it. How are you going to share it? Who are you going to share it to? And those are the 4 simple steps you can take to really bring one of your thoughts to life. And in the next episode, we'll be covering the first quote, the first segment, which is the quote, and then I talk about the connection that the quote has between life and branding and marketing, and that is the quote. That's for next episode. Times change and so do you, but the essence of who you are always seeps through. By yours truly. I love it. Sounds cute, sounds cheesy. You know what I mean? Everything I can be sometimes, apart from annoying. Alright, but as they say, you can find the rest of my videos on IGTV, Amyth and Amit, YouTube, Amyth and Amit, my website back here, Amyth and Amit, and you can just give me a buzz, DM me if there's some questions you have about what I've talked about to you today or any of the videos. Reach out. I love having a conversation. So like, subscribe, share. Book coming out. Marketing is Life podcast coming out, and it's all part of that XX legacy, my XX legacy, the brand. Essentially, hopefully that I'll leave this planet one day and it'll mean something. It would have had an impact of some sort on someone, other than mum. Peace.